Increasing migration of skilled, professional and laborers from Nepal to foreign countries, needs serious adjustment. Shanker. Man Singh. As soon as you wake up in the morning, you can see the mountains, may these hands be able to write Nepal. How touching are these lines? Discussions and debates have started about the emigration of Nepalis from Nepal, the land of sages, green with nature, culturally rich and having tremendous economic potentialities. As the increasing migration of skilled, professional and laborers from Nepal poses a great threat to the country's development, it leaves many questions unanswered. Are we carving our skills to serve ourselves? Are we learning to make ourselves better? Human capital flight, i.e. capital and human resources, commonly referred to as brain drain, refers to the migration of skilled and professional individuals in search of better opportunities. As such practices hamper our development, it is high time we find effective ways to combat the brain drain. Also think about drain brain. Some of the measures that can be taken to avoid it, plenty of employment opportunities. Since everyone wants a secure and stable future, providing them with adequate employment opportunities can discourage human capital flight. People have so many career options, they cannot think of leaving their country. Smart earning. No one likes low wages. They want their salary to match their job profile so that they can lead a happy, dignified life. Also, people don't just think about meeting their daily expenses. Since humans have an innate fight or flight response, flight is essentially possible if they are unable to fight in search of a safe life. Therefore, it is important to protect their political, social, cultural, and religious rights. It became public knowledge that sometimes the government planned to thinking of discouraging young people from migrating abroad in Nepal, but they are not practical and busy. Announcing the minimum common program of the Dubha government, it announced that it would bring a program to prevent energetic young people from migrating abroad. The government's plan was to give practicality to youth's rights, education and employment. Labor experts say that the government, especially all the governments after 2062/63b.s, have announced that they will provide employment, but they have not been able to provide employment. The previous government also announced that it would give priority to employment in the country. But they could not provide employment. Although the government has announced that it will give priority to job creation by discouraging foreign employment, it seems that nothing else will be done except to fill the pages of the government's program. About 5 lakhs people enter the labor market in Nepal every year. 3/4 of them are forced to go for foreign employment without getting a job in the country. The previous government had announced the end of compulsory foreign employment. But forced foreign employment has not yet ended. As the government can create jobs in the country, the workers are forced to go to foreign jobs for low wages. The government has not been able to provide skill-based training to workers who want to do business in the country and who are going to work abroad. As a result, unskilled workers are forced to go for foreign employment. Foreign nationals are getting opportunities in the country. The government is planning to emphasize employment-oriented education as in the song Ye Ta Sab Ban Kara Na Hun. The government is going to provide social security to the workers. The government's policy is to encourage a culture that respects labor as development and its main basis is labor. The government has a plan to increase production activities within the country and provide employment. A program has been launched to encourage Nepali people who have returned with capital and technology from foreign employment to start employment-oriented businesses within the country. There is a plan to improve the management of public institutions and make them professional, competitive, and effective. It is the government's policy to operate and mobilize the relevant agencies in order to complete the development and construction works of electricity, water, sewerage, communication etc. in an integrated and balanced manner. It has been mentioned in the government's program to mobilize the cooperative sector to alleviate poverty and promote employment. The government has a plan to provide financial assistance to the laborers, employment, and the poor who are highly affected by COVID. It has been a long time since the flute of prosperous Nepal Happy Nepali started playing in a role in Nepal. People have queued up for foreign employment with their passports in hand. Even after 5 years of the formation of a stable government, the Nepali people have not been able to think of an option to do something in their own country. While the government is promoting economic prosperity every day, Nepal's villages are becoming more and more empty. It is sad to say that some villages are run by women. When there is a calamity in the village and when people die, a situation has arisen where men are not even found. Not only the government but every Nepali knows that one can become a worker by selling labor abroad, but one can become an owner by working hard at home. However, there is still a misconception that there is nothing wrong with staying in Nepal. According to the latest data of the Department of Foreign Employment, 6 lakh Nepalese youths migrate abroad every year. As the youth go abroad, it is increasing day by day, not decreasing. Some people opine that there is no doubt that Nepali people will have to live a life of slavery by selling labor abroad for decades if they do not find an alternative to it at home. Although it is a bitter reality of not being able to get a job in the country according to one's skills and abilities, migrating abroad is not the last option. The attraction of Nepali youth towards foreign employment is increasing. In this context, young people who have passed C have the mindset to start dreaming of foreign countries without even studying +2. The harsh reality is that the parents are encouraging the young generation to go abroad, be it out of curiosity or compulsion. Therefore, after the dream of foreign employment has taken root in their hearts, the young generation has become unable to stay in the villages and cities. Unless there is a change in the thinking of the government and the youth, prosperity is not possible, nor is it possible to stop migration abroad. In order for the country to make a leap economically and socially, it must be able to believe in labor first. Regardless of whether the job is small or big, labor should be respected and efforts should be made to increase production in the country. The consequences of migration abroad are the examples of people who are in trouble without getting paid abroad, who are subjected to intense labor exploitation, who have ruined their families because of their fascination with foreign countries. The government is very serious about mobilizing the Nepali labor force in the country and should not delay in coming up with immediate, medium-term and long-term policies and programs. If you are going to study further, we should say, go but come back later. But if you are looking for a job/residence abroad, we can urge you to read this once and think. Government must be able to say we will give you more than what you are looking for there. You are your own boss in your own country, elsewhere you are always number 2, no matter how smart you are. There is no money in trees. Wherever you go, you have to work. If you go to Gulf countries, it's mostly for labor which is very painful and the climate there can't be described without sweat. No country will allow foreigners to do their native work unless they can. There are many opportunities in Nepal. With young people going to work abroad, most educated people choose non-profit or government or private sector jobs, which means less competition for you. Go and start a company. Find out how to make a good business catering to them and their families. The poor market is big. A high unemployment rate means you can build a team around motivated young people who are eager to stay employed. Plus, you'll gain their goodwill and loyalty to hopefully build a long-term sustainable company. No matter how chaotic the situation seems right now, things will get better. Those who are abroad are going to return in the future, and do you know what they are doing? Start a company or find a job, something you can do now, and when they come back, you'll be the leader. And last of all, because you owe something to this beautiful country that you were always proud of. You now have a choice, either make your own dreams come true or you'll be hired to make someone else's dream come true. What is the guarantee for a good life when you leave Nepal? Of course you'll see and learn a lot, so please travel and expand your horizons, but you'll eventually miss Nepal's laid-back culture. People in the West are very workaholic. You'll rarely see people gossiping under the sun and clicking their tongues on sour clementines, which you'd probably take for granted by now. Try to look at your life more holistically, and get your priorities straight. If you're all about communal harmony and sociability, Nepal, or really anywhere in South Asia, will make you happy. If you don't care much about it, taste it, and decide for yourself. Nepal is a land of opportunities, unexplored, untouched, perfect soil for aspiring entrepreneurs and leaders. Nepal needs you and me. We can hope in the near future when we will have a youth-driven economic revolution, a generation of social entrepreneurs, the dawn of a new era. Many at that age wanted to go abroad and have a better life. They did not want to go abroad to get good education, learn new things and bring back what they learned for the betterment of the country, but to become rich and get out of the so-called suffering life of Nepal. Many people in the West have lost the touch of humanity, and very few people will be willing to help you even when you are fighting on the street. You will experience firsthand the term racism that you may have just heard in a book or on TV. Let's make Nepal a country of opportunity for the youth. Make Nepal's entrepreneurs successful by ensuring a permanent government that encourages commerce and development. Since Nepal imports a lot, make Nepal less dependent by developing tourism by increasing other sources of vital foreign exchange. It can help a lot if the youth of Nepal don't have to face so much hardship, to educate themselves and look for opportunities abroad after all that education. It doesn't happen all at once. Nepal should invest heavily in its infrastructure, industrialize a bit, so it doesn't import so much, and ensure a steady flow of money to its central treasury. Another big motivation is a stable government that actually has policies and regulations in place for its people, infrastructure and incentives for young entrepreneurs and venture capitalists, and in areas ranging from cyberspace to bank lending. A lot of stuff, which seems to be happening with the launch of business incubation centers and youth entrepreneur programs, but much remains to be done. If we consider the fertile working age in Nepal from 15 to 64 years, in 2021, about 66.02% into the 15 to 64 age group and about 5.91% were over 65 years of age. The young people who go for foreign employment are of this age. The number of people going abroad for employment has increased tremendously at Tribhuvan Airport since few decades back. Gongbu Bus Park on the other hand is empty. Every year, a large number of the country's hard-working and talented youth migrate abroad, which is like a flood carrying away the fertile topsoil of the land. Undoubtedly, the main responsible for the terrible situation of youth exodus is the bonds, strikes, and the lack of proper employment in the country for those who have obtained higher education. Although there has been a slight improvement, most of the problems have not been eliminated. In this way, to stop the growing trend of young people going abroad, it is necessary to provide a guarantee of employment in the country, respect for all types of labor, and social security to allow the unemployed to live. Also, solving this systemic problem with seriousness is the need of the day. More about this source text required for additional translation information. Send feedback. Side panels 5000 character limit. Use the arrows to translate more.